a 1911 Newark progress report. I think it takes a couple minutes for the video to come up, so we're waiting for that. We'll see how soon we can. Here we go. All right, we have video. Um, so, like I said, it's June 6th. We're getting, I think the end is near. I had, some of these things might be repeats, hopefully not. Since we last talked, I had Brett scrape off the front porch here. I don't know if you remember, it had blue indoor-outdoor carpet that was dilapidated. And I've got some gray porch and floor paint that I had in my garage that we can paint that with. This porch and floor is the same thing in here, but it's in pretty good shape. I think we can clean this up. We already vacuumed it a couple times, but maybe we'll get the steam cleaner over here. This is the sink from the bathroom. As you can see, is pretty rusty, and it's kind of nasty up on the rim. This is actually why we needed to replace it, because the rims around it's self-rimming and they were pretty rusty. So moving in here, we do have a task list. We really nailed down what the task list is. One of them is to paint this spot here on the window. Other than that, the windows are pretty much done in here. We'll move into the living room where we started before. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff in here. Brett has painted the living room walls and ceiling. I think last time that had not been done yet. It had a coat of primer, but not finished paint. So we put a coat of flat white paint on this. So that's what that looks like. As you can see, we've got a ton of materials and parts, and every task that we do requires to identify the problem, figure out what needs to be done, get the tools, the materials to complete the task, put it on the list, and then organize your time, task after task, to get it done. In here, I think last time I told you we're going to rotate these, and we're doing that. So these doors have been laid out and then primed. You know, they had to be cleaned, sanded, primed, painted, and hopefully just one coat of paint will do it. So this room, as you before, was one of the first ones that was looking done. We have another door on standby over here, and then there's another door in the closet. Up here, we're getting set up to get up in there and secure those 3 broken rafters, which I think, looking back, I bet that happened. I was talking to the neighbor, and they were talking about when the tree fell on the house, and I'll bet that's when those rafters got broken. So anyway, so we've got, in order to accomplish that, we've got a 6-ton bottle jack to jack up the rafters. It won't be much, it'll only be like a 1/4 inch. We've got a battery operated light. We've got the pneumatic framing nailer and a box of nails that I had on hand. It's because it won't take a ton of nails. It'll probably just take like a couple dozen. And then some C-clamps to clamp the 2x4s, which I've already purchased. And we are going to attach those. It's just a case of doing that. And Brett's pretty good at crawling up. He's willing to do these jobs. This is the panel that we're preparing for the closet, which is looking better. So that's been sanded, primed, and now this side has 1 coat of paint. I believe the other side has been sanded and even some mud on there to even it out. This will be the back side against the wall. So we just decided to paint both sides of the access panel. The other side is a little smoother. So we'll go back out here to the living room. And when you hear me talking about mud, there's this product here, USG, and it's got it's just they call it joint compound. So in the home construction business, we call it mud. But we call everything mud. We call mortar mud. We call roof tar mud. Everything's mud. Here's the porch and floor paint that we can do that front step with. I've got the chop saw out here. It's upside down. But we're going to use this to make some cuts for those baseboards that we're working on. I have an inventory of I had a tenant leave behind tons of cabinetry hardware. So I dug out ones that would fit here, and now I'm just trying to select screws that'll work. I'll screw this on, and that will go onto the bathroom vanity. Speaking of the bathroom vanity, we got a new toilet that's been installed. There was some funky stuff back behind the toilet, and this smaller tank is higher, and it kind of exposed some of that. So I used some hot mud on that yesterday, which is something you mix up. It comes in a powder as opposed to the bucket that I showed you. Hot mud is a setting type mud. It dries harder, and it sets up through a chemical reaction, and it takes about it comes in different. I have a bag of Durabond 45, which takes 45 minutes to set up. But this toilet is very nice. It's installed. I think it's an upgrade, and it's a tall round front because we didn't have room for the elongated ones, but the tall ones are more popular now. And of course it flushes, and that's a good addition. And like I said, I had put the new tub spout on and rebuilt the tub faucet, and that looks to be in nice condition. There's a couple holes here. There was a grab bar that was pretty bad shape, so we have to fill those couple holes. These windows in here are basically done. The mirror, as I showed you, it was out in the garage before. And you can see that it's been painted inside out and mounted. There's a little shelf here. We sanded that down, and we painted it with some countertop paint. I have a cover to go on, which can go on now. We usually wait until the paint is completely dry. We're done painting so that the cover doesn't get damaged. Regarding the vanity, I showed you the door that has to go back on there. But we sanded this down. I don't know if you remember what the vanity looked like. It was pretty nasty. So this has been then cleaned and sanded, and we caulked the insides of these, and then used I had some Rust-Oleum countertop paint that we did at another property, and it's a really pretty finish. But this has had 2 coats on it. It's ready for the sink to be installed. Now we can go into the other room here and look at the sink. The sink has been prepared for installation. I'll wait till that paint gets drier. But as you can see, they come with just a bare sink. But we got the faucet on here. We got the prices actually came in less than what we anticipated. I only paid $90. Well, wait a minute. I can't remember exactly whether it was the $99 toilet or the $119 toilet. This was only $35. The faucet, I think, was $45 or something like that. And the faucet comes with a tail piece, which you need in order to attach your stopper. But that looks like that's going to be a nice addition. That'll sit on top of that newly painted vanity. Now in here we are going to, I guess we'll show you. I don't think you saw this room painted, but this room has been painted out. This received the oil base primer, so it covered really well. The windows have been worked. There's been a lot of work done on the windows. But it looks like those might have gotten some paint in the joints there. that is going to have to be opened up. Now, this room here is the room with the two. This would be on the south side of the house. This closet here, we have these mats here that we can kneel on. And this closet looks real good. It's been washed and primed and painted. It looks like it's ready to go. I might pick up a couple closet rods. They just had some of these ugly dowels laying across there. It looked more like a broom handle. I might pick those up. They're not expensive, and it just gives it a finished look. As soon as the doors are done being painted, then those folding doors will be in there, and then that will be done. These windows have been painted, and they're done. We've got the shop vac here, and Brett has done a nice job in here. I got the table saw out, the chop saw, and he fitted in these pieces. This is going to be, we use Bondo around the edges here, and the reason for that is because it'd be hard to take out, we'd have to take more boards out in order to replace that. And I think last time you saw that this had been squared off, getting ready for the access panel. But I think last time you saw it, this closet was not finished. So all this mudding, sanding, and caulking, and so it was washed, sanded, mudded and sanded, and then primed, and then a coat or two of flat paint. I don't know what paint he used here. Brett's at the doctor's appointment. I thought it'd be a good time to show you this. We're going to cut in some baseboard to go around there. I think I'm going to put the panel on top of the baseboard. So I'm going to install the baseboard over here first along the bottom, and then set the panel on top of that, and maybe run a cross brace or something to give it to make it seal. So anyway, that's what's happening with the closet. That'll be a monkey off my back getting rid of that job. So each task, and the thing is, doing these videos, sometimes I think, oh, gee, I should wait until some of these tasks are done. But, I suppose part of it is, it's a progress report. So we had a mishap here. This door, like that other door, isn't closing, and maybe you can see where you've got, where you can see shadow there. That's where it needs to be sanded down or planed down. So right here it was sticking, and it pulled off a little piece of the Luan laminate that goes on there. So I glued it back down and clamped it, and then we'll sand this so that the door will actually clear instead of binding there. And it looks like maybe that's about the only spot where it's really binding there. So I'll try not to bust that off again. All right, so of course the living room, I think Brett said he wants to put one more coat of paint on it. This, last time I don't think this was installed. This is, we were able to get that damaged piece of wood out of there, and then we have filled this with a piece of 1x6 cut to 5 inches, and then we use clamps. I use clamps to clamp it together, and then I use the nailer, my power nailer, to just nail these on. And for the top here, it was a little funky, but we scraped it out. This was just caulked. So then it'll receive a coat of primer and a coat of finish paint. We still have to do a little, we put Bondo up here, and then ended up putting some plaster on top of that. And that will need to be shaped and sanded. It looks pretty good now. I think just some more sanding and shaping, and then we'll be ready to go ahead and prime and paint that. The kitchen walls have been, let's see if I can zoom you farther out, maybe not. that's about the best I can do, I guess. So I'll back up and you can see that this wall has been painted. So he's got the kitchen looks amazing compared to what it did. This has been primed but needs more paint. The I don't know if you remember what that wall looked like. It was really, really bad. And then the wallpaper up above. And we ended up having to go around to do some repairs on the ceiling and where the wallpaper meets the ceiling. But we got that tightened up. The kitchen cabinets, this has gone through some cycles. We're just organizing some things, and we're going to be putting the stuff in boxes. I'm going to have him take the hardware off of these doors, and then because they're really, really ugly and they're dirty, and I might even have some hardware. Like I said, I have all that hardware, or it's a pretty inexpensive thing to buy. So we had the sink all cleaned at one time, but you see how quickly it gets dirty again. But I would say painting wise, we are, it's amazing. And so once we get the hardware off of here, then I'll have him paint this. I'm going to have him paint it with just some of that. It's a semi-gloss white, the Durahide Premium that you see there on the counter, the Dutch Boy. We're going to paint just like we did in the bathroom. We're going to paint the inside of this light fixture. As a matter of fact, we might just take it off to paint it. I was able to do the bathroom one in place, but this is like, now this is that brass look, and we were surprised this cleaned up. It would need more cleaning, but we're thinking about maybe keeping it, or just like I had talked about before, just putting a inexpensive light from Menards in there. All the windows, and the windows are a big job, as you know. I've explained that to you. It takes a long time to clean them and then sand them. And here's Brett. You say hi to Brett. Say hi to the owners.
How you guys doing?
All right. I'm going to take you outside. That's the end of this. In the back hallway here, you can see that there's some peeling, and we generally want to, I think we will just peel this back where it's loose. And it's not loose everywhere. I'll just have Brett take and scrape off the loose stuff. There's some over the door, but pretty much the rest of it is pretty good. There's one spot over there I see, but that'll be lead safe practice. And we're really kind of doing this. I was thinking about this today, that we're kind of doing it like we would a rental unit. So if this place needed to be rented, if you decided to continue to rent it, then we'd be doing kind of the exact same thing, getting it ready to where someone could live here. And I haven't gotten up on the roof again to blow that tree stuff off. We put a second coat of black paint on the railing there. And this is by no means inclusive of everything we've done here. We just keep finding tasks and doing them. I have, Brett is working on taking this ground cover that's growing on the driveway, and he's transplanting it over here. So since it's a pretty asset of the property, I'll have him move this stuff. The lawn needs mowing already again. Let's see, since last time I got up on the garage roof and took my power broom. It's like a spinning broom that's made by Milwaukee, and it's part of that system, the big batteries that cost $400. And I got up there with a blower and that power broom, and I don't know if you remember what it looked like up here. Of course, there's some new debris has fallen on the roof, of course. This was just covered with moss and leaves and needles, and um, from the pine tree, and it knocked 90% of it off. But since then, a couple things have still fallen down. Um, Again, this is a very pleasant area back here. It seems like we're getting very close to being done with this place, which will be great. There's this problem, we can talk more about the garage, but I got back up here and cut those pine branches that were touching the roof there. And that way I was able to, you can't really see it up there, but there's a ton of debris on this side too. And I was able to blow it off and use the power broom, but got all of that crud that had built up there. There's that one part of the roof. Now with the garage, I have been kind of going through some things on the garage. I think we can do some cursory things to get this shored up. I maybe talked about this before, but this is where it's bowed out a little bit on the end where it was hit by probably a car. I think it's just a case of lifting it up with that jack you saw inside the house already. We can lift that up and just push the bottom back in. And that's not a big deal. And then as we walk around the garage here, cut through the bushes here. The house looks pretty, doesn't it? Neighbors are real nice people. We did more trim work on this to allow vehicles to get through there. Now in the garage, down here is where I had the siding off and put the new foundation. I had all of this off and rebuilt the post here and here. I poured cement under there, and I put a Walmanized, which is it's a 2x8, it looks like, under there, and cut that to size. Over here I put a new foundation under this post. The door looks a lot better now. I blew in here yesterday with the blower. And so here's where I use those mending brackets to this part of the door had fallen off, so it looked really bad from the outside. And I attached this bottom rail, which I showed you last time. So we've got this looking a lot nicer from the outside, and I had built that bottom panel several years ago to kind of give it an even look, which was kind of impossible to achieve any other way at the time without replacing these doors. I think that regarding this gap over here, this bottom really needs to come in, but in the meantime I can just lever the door this way a little bit. I think we can close that gap or put a piece of trim on there. But as far as the structural things on the garage, this here, you can see that I've been kind of working over here. I blew leaves in here yesterday, moved things around, but there is room to lift this and pull it back. I think even just if it came over a few inches, that would be good. This main beam here, there's one beam that goes from here, and you might see there's a bird's mouth on the top there, and it sits onto the top plate right there. And then the bottom of it is supported by a cross piece. And it goes across here, and if you can see, the garage opener was pulling on it. And of course, this was before my time, but it was pulling on it, and then it would gradually twist it. It looks like what's happening. And over here, it looks like it came out. Now, Mark had come over here before several years ago, and he just came out here, well, we better do something about this. So really what has to happen, and this probably sounds terribly complex, it's not that bad. I think what needs to be done is this should be up and towards the wall. And so in order to accomplish that, I would drill a through that top plate and put an eye bolt on it. And then do the same on the other side. And just next to it there. So right about there. And then drill a hole through the top plate and put an eye bolt, and then put a nut on the other side. And then we'll hook a come-along up and run the come-along over to here and then pull the wall together. So that's how I would handle that. And then we would lift this up, and this wall would start coming to it, because this is falling out a little bit. And when we pull that together, it's going to make the whole thing go up a little, which will be good. Because you can see, I don't know if you can see here, well, that piece of wood is in the way, but I'm sure you can kind of see the lean a little bit. It's kind of hard to see. But down here, I don't know what they had going on here. I took a few of these out, and it is cement under here. And so I don't know if somebody just laid in pieces in between these joists, but what really should happen is we should lift it up, put a joist on there, and finish that. But maybe we'll just take the loose pieces out, clean it up, vacuum out all that dirt for the inspectors. And then over here, we'll kind of do the same thing. There's one board that this is really what the inspector was complaining about, which is the least of our problems, really. Someone had cut that out to put in, I would guess, like a wood burner or something, some kind of heater out here. And so they cut that in there, and then they removed part of this wood. But I think Brett and I are just going to fashion some wood and put that together, because my goal would be to get rid of that, our orders, because you're wanted in Grand Rapids. You're wanted people. So, just don't come to Grand Rapids. Just kidding. So that's today's progress report. I hope it looks exciting to you and things are happening. And I think we're probably within a couple weeks of being done here. So I'm sure you'll be glad to hear that. And any questions, again, give me a call. Bye.